What's going on out there, good people? It is your boy Look Around with LMD Trading, coming at you a day late, but definitely not a dollar short. Turn my phone off. Definitely not a dollar short. We were traveling yesterday on Friday, the 25th of March. Wanted to get these reviews done while I was connecting at my layover in Atlanta. But for some reason, my portable monitor didn't want to work. I think the USB-C cable has gone bad. So ordered another cable while I was sitting there. And like I say, wasn't able to get the review done, but I am back home. Not sure if you've ever paid attention to a couple of the shirts that I wear, but they do say King of Daycations. And that is my moniker when I'm traveling. I am the king of daycations. I have no problem getting up, taking a quick daycation at the drop of a dime. So I took a quick trip to Nashville yesterday. Flew up there, hung out, and flew back home this morning. So figure I'd get this out of the way. And I will do a domestic daycation. I've done a daycation to Paris. Actually, Paris I stayed overnight, but I did a true daycation to Amsterdam. I flew to Amsterdam one time, left the States on a Thursday afternoon, got to Amsterdam Friday morning, hung out all day, and I was back on a plane that evening heading back home. So, as it says, I'm living my dream. And that is one of the ways I like to live my dream, is by traveling. But today we won't be able to look at the thumbnails because those charts are set to today in Thinkorswim. And when you set your charts to today, they only show you candles for whatever day you're on. And we're on Saturday right now, so those charts are all blank. So we will just get started right over at TraderView. So let's go ahead, pull up TraderView, and we will see what we did yesterday, which was March 25th. We took 10 trades, closed P&L 209. All of that we made later in the morning. First part of the morning, we would take a trade and then we would give it back. And then we'd take another trade and we'd give it back. As you can see with the first two, we traded AMD, made 41, took another trade, we lost 50. Traded Facebook, made 44, came right back, lost 32. And then right up in here, we just took some miscellaneous trades as we saw them. And then the last two right here at 11 o'clock, ended up seeing the market flushing. And we got aggressive on AMD. We took 5 contracts. And I think this had a unrealized gain of about 250. And what I was doing was just trailing my stop. So I had the target set at like $500. Target was set way up there. And I just would move the stop as the trade would continue to go up. Trade would go up, I would move the stop up. And then it finally came back and it stopped us out and we made 179. So that was a good trade there. And then we traded NVDA and solid 55 bucks on that trade. But we will go ahead and get the charts pulled up and see what we were seeing. And if you haven't already, please hit that like button. If you're not subscribed, please think about subscribing. We're slowly growing over here at LMD, and I like it. I like it. So if you haven't subscribed, please think about subscribing. Once you do, hit that notification bell, click all, and that way you will be notified whenever I am making a video. But we'll get started. Let's take a look at the overall big picture of AMD. And we see that it's a fairly choppy day. It's a fairly choppy day. yesterday, or yeah, yesterday. We do see right there at 11 o'clock, just like I said it did, it kind of flushed down. We took advantage of that big flush, but let's go ahead and get the first trade out of the way. First trade that we took was almost right off the open. And if I remember correctly, this was a trade that I kind of scratched my head on. Just looking at the 2-minute chart. Because there's nothing there. Market is just opening. If we come over here and look at the 1 minute, which again, like I said, is not pulled up on my battle station when I'm trading. Here, we could have been getting in with a stop right there, and we would have been stopped out almost like immediately. But we got in right here. 2 contracts. We paid $82 per contract. And first one we got out of, $9.49. Let's see where $9.49 is at. First one, we're getting out pretty much as that move is done. And then the second one, we got out a minute later at $9.50. So confirmation that this is headed back down. Let's get out. And first one we sold it for $104. And then this one here, we sold it for $101. And we made $41 off of this trade. But again, this was not a good trade. No real pattern on this chart. Can't really say that we'd put the stop here because this is the candle we're trading. We want to put the stop below the previous candle. So no real area to stop out or to put a stop. And we just kind of rode this thing through. And was fortunate enough to make $41 on it. Second trade, we went right back to AMD, but this time we bought puts. And we bought puts while this trade was still going on. Again, looking at the 1 minute chart, I can somewhat see why, but looking at the 2 minute chart, no real reason why. If we was looking at this as a retest, we'd want to enter here, stop there, knowing we might catch a little congestion on this bottoming tail, but we're going to play it to go down. So it never would have triggered us in to go down lower. And we stopped out of this thing 2 minutes later. 2 minutes later, 9:41, this candle here, as this is coming back up and heading higher. And we lost $50 on this trade. We lost 50 bucks. So we made 44 on that first, or 41 on that first trade. Took this trade almost as a hedge. Almost as a hedge to say, if this goes down, we're hedged on the call. We'll get out of the call for whatever we lose, and we'll play this one to the downside. But the call worked, even though we see that was the high of the day. It never did go any higher than that for the rest of the day. And had we stayed in this, we probably would have been down a couple of $100, but we would have made a ton of money at the end of the day. But yeah, definitely not a good play right there. Not a good play. Just thinking about it, I can see why I did it, but not in my trading plan. It's not a strategy. And I must have been having a little hopium in my Kool-Aid that morning. But that was our second trade. Third trade of the morning, we went to Facebook. Let's look at the big picture on Facebook real quick. Again, we see Facebook popped off the open. It set a high of day at 9:54. 9:54. And it started flushing a little bit earlier than the rest of the market did. Initially off the open, Facebook was kind of holding the market. Everything else was kind of ugly, and Facebook was still kind of holding. But we got 2 calls at 9:40. We bought 2 calls, 940. So we would have been getting in right there. It actually would have been here as it was breaking this candle. So Facebook made this enormous move, pulled back to the VWAP, but that's not 50% of this gigantic move here. So needed some time still to rest, and it did more than rest. It rolled over, but we were getting in here, stopped down here. This thing popped. We got out of these at 943. 943. So we're getting out pretty much in those candles there. We got out of the first one 943, then we waited 50 seconds, got out of the second one at 943 and 50 seconds. We paid $127, so $127 for these contracts. Sold the first one for $148, sold the second one for $150, and we made $44 on this trade. So good entry. This just didn't have enough time to really rest, so it was going to be a short pop. This one never would have had the steam to really go 2-to-1, but it got close to it though. It got close to 2-to-1 out of it, but nevertheless, decent trade. So we're back in the green, and then we went right back to Facebook and we bought calls again. First one we got in 952. Let's see where 952 is. So we were getting in right there. Again, this thing is way extended. Way extended. If anything, buy a put to come back down. But we got in right there. We stopped out on this one 5 minutes later, 9:57. And we rode this thing almost all the way back down to the VWAP. Almost all the way back down, and we lost $32 on this trade. Again, had we got out right here, pretty good chance that we would have just stopped out for about the 25 bucks, but rode it down a little further, lost 32 on the trade. Not a good entry. Not a good entry. And we stayed in it a little bit longer than we probably should have. And we lost 32 bucks on that one. And then this was a stretch we kind of just was trading all over the place. So let's see what we were doing. Next trade that we took was on AMD. We got in this one at 957. And this was a put. 957. Wow. We're getting in after all of this here. So somewhere in this candle, most likely right here, as this is starting to push back down. And we only bought one contract. Because again, this is way extended. We're going to have to give this a lot of room just in case it pulls back. And we got out of this one at 10:04. 10:04 as it's starting to make its move back up. And we made $10 on this trade. So we were chasing. Just trying to make some money. No solid trade. Definitely not a solid trade there. Just chasing it to try to make some money. Those you can get burned on just as easy as you can make a couple of dollars. You can make a few dollars and you might get burned on a lot of dollars. But next trade that we took was Microsoft. So let's peek at Microsoft. Microsoft again. Microsoft set high day off the opening candle. And it went from 305 to a low of 299. A $6 move that thing made. But we bought a put. On Microsoft. And we got in at 10 o'clock on the dot. 10 o'clock and 19 seconds. So we were getting in right there. I like the entry. Getting in basically as it's breaking this area. Only thing, it is a little extended from the VWAP. It is a little extended, but we see here this thing just ripped and it was extended. So we got in right there and we got out in 3 minutes, almost 4 minutes. We got out at 10:03 and 57 seconds. So this opened and came all the way back down and we were getting out right there. And this was 2 contracts and we made 40 bucks on that trade. So not a bad trade, not a bad trade. Like I said, it is a little extended. The good entry would have been on this candle, because this candle most likely wicked, left this wick, and then came back down. So it opened here, it closed here. We would have been getting in when the next candle broke that. So getting in right there, stop up there, playing it down. We can look at these charts after the fact and the patterns just stick out. The patterns just stick out where to get in. But real time, we need to work on that. We need to work on controlling the emotions on wanting to get in on a trade just to be trading. I say it all the time. We trade to make money, not to trade. You might see that on a shirt here in the near future. We trade to make money, not to just trade. Living my dream trading. But next trade that we took, we went back to AMD. Playing puts again. And these here we got in at 10:12. 10:12. So we're getting in on this candle right here. Again, not really a good entry. Look to the left. I should be looking to the left before I take every trade. And we see a bottoming tail. That's buyers. We see this doji with it almost, it's in the upper third. That's buyers. So even though this kind of pushed down a little bit, we see that the buyers eventually did step in this one. And we lost $25 or $26 on this. We got out of this 7 minutes later at 10:19. So we're getting out on this candle as it's coming back up and stopping us out. First target should have been right here. We should have known first target right here. When this started pushing back up, get out right here for whatever profit that is. Because right there, we know we're in the green a little bit. So get out. Again, looking to the left, we can see this. But I will admit, when I'm trading, I'm not paying attention to that. And that's the good thing about coming back doing these reviews. And I need to, I do go back after I do my reviews. I listen to them probably 2 times. But need to put that firmly in my trading plan to continuously look to the left. Because again, bottoming tail, that's buyers. That's buyers. 2 signs not to get in the trade. Third sign, if I get in the trade, know that this is going to hit resistance over here. And if this starts moving back up, exit out of the trade, take whatever that little scalp was, and then look for a solid entry. But we took a $26 loss on that trade right there. So like I said, reviewing, we learn. Reviewing, we learn. The key is to implement what we are learning. And that seems to be the problem right now, because we're seeing the error in our ways. We just not learning from them right now. But next trade that we took, NVDA. This here we bought calls on. We bought calls on these. And as you can see, I had put a little channel on here. And look at that thing. That's a thing of beauty. It's trading right in the channel. And then right here, it started consolidating. And let's see where we got in this thing at. Because this was a beautiful breakdown. When this thing, so it's in this channel. We dropped this line here. I'm going to extend it to the left. But now we see that it's flagging. So it's setting higher lows and the highs are staying equal. So this is either going to break out to the high side or it's breaking down to the low side. But we should be waiting to see which way it's going to break. And we see it broke low. We assumed that it would break high. And we got in this one at 1022. Look at that. That's that assuming right there. That's assuming at its best. Two things right as I look at this. Number one, we're at the top of the channel. Why are we taking a call when this can get pushed back down? Why are we taking a call when we're at the top of the channel? It's going to come back down. Otherwise, we need to wait on confirmation that this is going up. But we bought two calls. We paid $58 per call. So nice low price, $52 or $58. Not bad at all. We stopped out of these at 1051. Where's 1051 at? We stayed in this. We well overextended our stay. And you'll see when you see how much we lost on these two. So we got out of these as it broke out of this. Again, hindsight, 50-50. Once this broke, get out. That was a bad trade, but let's go ahead and cut it. Actually, we should have been getting out way over here as it broke the VWAP. But we had totally drunk the hopium. We had totally drunk the hopium that this was going to go back up. And we see exactly what it did when I say look to the left. I'm going to remove that drawing. This came back up. First area is going to be right here to the left. That's going to act as resistance. It's exactly what it did. Push back down. So again, if we didn't get out over here, another area telling us get out. So we getting all kind of signals that this trade is not going to work. It comes back up. Again, resistance, resistance. We can come all the way over here and look at this as resistance. Another thing, get out. Get out the trade. Come back down to VWAP. Get out the trade. We got out as this thing came all the way back down. So we had all kind of signs to get out of this trade. All kinds of signs. And again, I got to look to the left. I got to look to the left more. Like Beyonce says, to the left, to the left. The left will help you. The left will definitely help you because that there gave us all the signs we needed. But I'm actually jump around real quick. I'm gonna go to the very last trade that we took, which was NVDA, just because we have this chart already pulled up, and then we'll go to AMD, and then we'll be done. And if you're still watching and you hadn't hit that like, please do so. Please do so. But this one here, we took this at 1150. 1150. Where were we at on this one? So we're getting in right here as this has made this enormous move down. It pulled back. Let's drop a line right there. Pull right back to what would have been support when you're trying to go down. This is support when you're trying to go down. This is resistance when you're trying to go up. But that's support. That's what this little point is. All I got to do is come to this point, drop a line. We see that's exactly where it came here. That's exactly where it came there. And that's technical analysis. That's technical analysis at its finest. These computers are just that. They are computers, and they set with ones and zeros, and they pretty much 9 times out of 10 are going to do what the chart says it should do. And it did it there, and it did it there. So here would have been a good entry. Stop at the top of that candle, play it down. We were chasing a little bit, so we got in here, and because we were chasing, we bought 1 contract. So if we're going to chase, let's limit the damage. Let's limit the liability. So we bought 1 contract, and we got out at 12:02. Got out right there in this candle. And we made $55 on this 1 contract. So had we bought 2 contracts, we're exposing ourselves to more risk, but we would have made $110 on this trade. So imagine had we got in where we were supposed to buying 2 contracts. Get in right here where we're supposed to, stop on the top side of it. This thing worked good. Probably would have got shaken out right there though, and we would have still made the same $50. So guess you could look at it like that. We still would have made the same $50. So we definitely would have got out of one of the contracts down here. Possibly could have held the second contract back up to break even, and then we would have stopped out right there, and we probably would have made less money. So again, that's that hindsight 50-50 thing. And that's that initially when I first started this account, I would say that I don't want to sit in these through the pullbacks. And that's because you give up so much of your gains on those pullbacks. If I am going to hold the contract, I need to set the stop at 1R. So at least I'll get whatever I made out of this move, and then I'll make 1R if it does pull back. But I think I will start just selling both of them right there. If this pulls back and it pulls back to a good area, just get back in and play it back down again. But again, if we get in right here, looking to the left, we know we're going to catch some flack right there. That's exactly what this thing did before it busted down. But let's get this last one out of the way, which was our second to last trade. And this one here, we got a little aggressive. We got a little aggressive on this one here, I will admit. And at 11:15, we bought 5 contracts. We bought 5 contracts. And we were getting in right there as this thing was somewhat consolidating. Looking to the left again, we do have this nice bottom and tail, decent volume. It's a reason not really to take that trade right there, because we see what happened when we got in the trade. We ended up catching this bottom and tail. But we got in here. We put our target up there, or I'm sorry, our stop up there, playing this to the downside. And we got out of all of these contracts at one time. We were not trying to ride them out. Bam. We got all of them out of all of them at 11:29 right there. And like I said, unrealized, we had left that on the table. So we probably were up about 200 and some odd dollars, but we were trailing it as it would go down. We would just move our stop down. Finally moved it down, and we got stopped out. And we probably were getting stopped out at the top of this candle right here. So as this pushed back up to the top of the candle, it stopped us out. But we made $179 on that trade. So that was a fairly solid trade. That definitely helped out the account. Definitely helped out the account. Entry, probably not the best entry. Probably not the best entry. Can't even say right here if that would have been a good entry, but made good money. Up here would have been a good entry. I will say that, because this came down, kind of consolidated over, back up to the VWAP. Get in as it breaks that low. Put your stop right there. If you want to give it a couple of extra cents, you could put it at the VWAP, but this thing broke nicely. That probably was a good, on that trade, probably would have been $500 right there on 5 contracts. But hope y'all enjoyed the video. Like I said, I just got in, literally just got in. So I wanted to get this video out the way, and I'm about to get my Saturday started. If you see over that shoulder, I got my jacket hanging up. I have to go take pictures for an organization I belong to. So that's why I really couldn't stay in Nashville longer than I wanted to. But we'll be back at this thing on Monday. We'll be back at it on Monday. Get a little studying out the way if I can this weekend. Try to ingrain the concept of looking to the left before I take a trade. Look to the left. The left tells me all I need to know. Right here, looking to the left, that's a top and tail. That's a top and tail. The sellers are getting in control. And then once we broke, we see exactly. Sellers were in control. In control. But we'll wrap this one up, and we will be back at it again on Monday. If you hadn't hit that like, as always, please do. If you're not subscribed, please think about subscribing, and we are out of here. Peace.